Good day, everyone. Let me first introduce myself. I am Engineer Matt Irvin Mital, and I am the main proponent of this paper entitled MATLAB-Boosted Smart Chatbots for Higher Education, Performance Analysis and Comparison. So this paper is co-authored by Engineer Carlo Romero, Engineer Ronaldo Tamayo, and Engineer Mark Angelo Martinez. And we are from Our Lady of Fatima University, Philippines. So let me discuss and present this in a different way. So instead of creating a PowerPoint presentation, I'll be showing to you the manuscript so that if you want to ask or comment on this paper, or if you have some suggestions on how to improve this, I think this is the most effective way to do it. So here are our contact details, specifically our emails, if you want to reach out to us. So let's start. So there are too many words here on your screen. However, I would just like first to highlight the important keywords that we are using in this paper. First is, of course, AI, artificial intelligence, chatbot, DNN or deep neural network, FAQ or frequently asked questions, NLP, natural language processing, university, and websites. So for the introduction, I think the one of the most important terms here is the word curiosity. So I think we're doing research. Um, we want to improve the quality of life because people are naturally curious. Okay, and as a consequence of this curiosity, we often ask questions. So there are questions that are very tedious to answer, and there are questions that are very repetitive. Hence, we need to make this efficient and to find a way on how to answer these questions more efficiently. So these questions or the frequently asked questions can be answered more efficiently. So this paper or this system, or as we say, the chatbot, will be implemented for higher education, specifically for universities. Okay, so in this paper, the main thing that we've done is that we created a chatbot to answer frequently asked questions specifically for our university. Yeah, to be clear. So there are 16 questions that we have inputted here in this paper, and we'll see if those questions are answered correctly by our created chatbot, which is coded here in MATLAB. So coding is not enough. We have employed two important things, that's artificial intelligence and NLP, or natural language processing. So particularly in this artificial intelligence, we have used DNN models, or deep neural network models and algorithms. So when you use MATLAB in implementing these kinds of things, these models are already inherent or existing in the said software. So all we need to do is to code it and to apply the models on our system. So the system, again, is our created chatbot. So for the review of literature, we have divided this into parts. The first one is explaining what chatbot is. So one of the most prominent or most famous, I guess, chatbots available on the internet is the ChatGPT. So ChatGPT almost answers questions that are usually asked by people in their lives. Sorry for that. I am finding for the right word, no? And next would be natural language processing. So I think this is another interesting concept that we've added because with natural language processing, computers can now understand and interpret words that can be inputted by a user. And the wonderful thing about this is these chatbots can now respond to us. Okay, so again, it's already existing, but the thing is, the unique part of this would be applying this to our very own university. So we want to create our own chatbot, specifically for the application of higher education in our institution. Okay, so let me just um, briefly explain our conceptual frameworks. Of course, you have your data sets. So data sets are very important so that your artificial model can learn. And here, application of NLP, then the neural network. So again, the models are already existing in MATLAB. So regression is a way of knowing if the model is not overfitting or it has a good accuracy. So TensorFlow is another technology that can improve the system, and of course the models and the output. So the output here would be the response of the chatbot. So if we're going to ask a question, will it answer it correctly or not? Okay. And for our project design, the first phase would be the natural language processing. So it is divided into 4 parts. So let me zoom on that. Tokenization, stemming, vectorization, and sorting. To explain this in layman's term, these are just way of preparing the data or pre-processing. So again, users can ask questions. So those sentences will be divided into parts, into words, so that it can be effectively inputted in the system. Okay, so for example, you have a sentence, are you happy? So for the first phase, it would be splitting the whole sentence into words and into phrases. So are you happy or happy, etc. So the in-depth explanation would be explained in this paragraph. So since it's just a presentation, I would like to speed things up. So the second one would be data modeling. So deep neural networks, when it is already implemented, you will have the regression process. So after that would be the training. So I think the common consideration that we should take note of would be adding the data sets or having a high amount of data set so that our deep neural network can probably produce a high accuracy. So, and the last part for the fourth phase would be the implementation. So, using the trained data, is the chatbot efficient, effective, accurate, and could answer the questions correctly. So let me just scan through the codes that were used in this paper. Okay, so this is the MATLAB integration to the system. So one of the important parts here would be understanding the input. So is the question positive, negative, or neutral? So these are categories that could help the chatbot to answer the questions correctly. Okay, so let me just skim through it. Okay, so we'll proceed with the testing operation procedures. So here, the researchers use softmax activation function for the proposed system's neural network. So as it is quoted, this function is useful as it allows the neural network to aid in multi-class classification. So this is a important term. So this is not just a simple classifying colors or images. It's a identifying if the question is positive, neutral, or negative. And well, the end goal is for the system to understand the question. So this function uses the following formula here. Okay, so for the evaluation techniques, these are metrics that we have used so that we can see um, if we can see the value of its error. So first is the fallback rate. So fallback rate is the questions not answered correctly. So it will be the number of fallbacks over the total exchanges times 100. So it will be in percentage. So the non-response rate, this is different from the fallback rate because the non-response rate would be the user asks a question on the chatbot, but in the chatbot, but the chatbot interprets it as an invalid question. So as a consequence, the chatbot will not reply. Another important parameter or metric would be the response speed, of course. So a chatbot is like imitating the behavior or how a real person speaks. So if I'm going to ask, if a user asks a question, the system should be fast enough to answer back. Okay, and these are the formulas. So let me show you the results of our system. So we have here the chatbot testing results. But before that, let me tell you the testing procedure. So the log of the session consists of 110 exchanges between the user and the chatbot. And to highlight again, there are 16 questions or similar questions that are inputted here in the system. So let's see if what is the response of our chatbot. So here, hello. The chatbot response would be good to see you again. For the second one, hi there. It's also good to see you again. So the chatbot understands or interprets this as a positive input. Okay, so as you can see, the speed is almost or equal to 0 seconds, which is good, no, for a system. So OLFU, this is the acronym of our school. So the response of the chat will be, Our Lady of Fatima University is a private education institution in the Philippines. So again, this system only answers frequently asked questions. But in the future, we would like to add more questions so that students, faculty members, and employees of our university um, can use this system and possibly to implement it in a large scale. So another thing would be OLUF. Okay, so this is a user input that is quite or should I say the chatbot interprets this as invalid. No, so the response would be, I can answer FAQ only. If you have concern, you may contact the information center. Okay, and so on. So here are our university president. So the chatbot answers it swiftly. So the president of the university is Caroline Marian S. Enriquez. Another thing to highlight would be, even if these questions are different, but because of tokenization and because of pre-processing of data, it understands that the user input is asking who is the president. So the president, even the word president is enough. So having more inputs would train the model more effectively and efficiently, and so on and so on. Here's the address. Another invalid question because of the spelling, etc. Okay, so here are our results. So the number of queries, there are 20 queries here, no? And the fallback rate would be 3. So using the formula, the fallback rate would be 15% and the accuracy rate would be 85%. So for the non-response rate, the number of queries is again 20 and the chatbot responded um, on all questions, but again, on few of those, it states that it cannot understand the question. Hence, they should direct their question to the information center. So I think this is to show that our system, though not perfect, it helps or aids in answering frequently asked questions. So I think it helped and it can aid students if they have some quick questions. So instead of calling in the office, so not all telephone lines are available all the time. So if there is the system, a chatbot that they could use, I think it would be beneficial for them. Okay. So here are more statistical results. The number of queries would be 20. The slowest would be 0.0047. The fastest would be approximately 0 seconds. Average response speed would be 0.00415. And the standard deviation, in terms of average speed response, would be 0.011, which is good because we need a standard deviation that is also low. And okay. And for our summary, in this study, the researchers developed a smart chatbot with the aid of NLP concepts. So, MATLAB-enabled sentiment analysis allows the chatbot to respond empathetically, aligning with user emotions. So, I think this part can still be improved. Okay? So, as our recommendation, based on the testing results, the researcher recommends further testing of the chatbot. And also, here. So, as you can see, the chatbot haven't answered the questions correctly when there are spelling concerns. So a spell check feature for the chatbot would increase the number of accurate responses and also have an ideal result for the non-response time. Okay, so as a conclusion, this finding suggests that the chatbot is reliable and efficient in addressing frequently asked questions about the university. So as simple as that, I think the paper achieved our goal. However, I think this is just a start of a more promising system for our university. So actually, this opportunity, we're happy to take this because we want to show that even though some of you may treat this as a simple chatbot design, but that's why we're here. And we would like to ask on how can we improve this. And we would be happy to acknowledge all your suggestions so that we can improve this and possibly put this into a larger scale. So for my final words, I think chatbots are somehow scary because it can replace the jobs of people who are in customer service. However, I think the main point of this technology would be to aid and to help, not to replace, but to help, especially for those who can benefit from this. For those people who have many questions in mind and they need fast answers, I think chatbots um, are the technology to be used. So here are our acknowledgement, and let me scan through our references. And I think that would be all. Thank you very much.